The road leads ever on and on, down from the door where it began. Now far down the road has led, and I must follow, if I can, pursuing it with eager feet, until it joins some larger way, where many paths and errands meet, and whither then, I cannot say.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the channel. So this is going to be one in a series of videos talking about the new features in Character Creator 5, including some of the previous ones, but mainly how they feed into you creating more lifelike characters or stylized characters, and how those features really feed into the enhanced and realistic that you can do in iClone. Before, you could have 140 blend shapes, which still do a pretty good amount of detail, but now they've upped that all the way to 390 plus, meaning that you can get a lot of really subtlety in the animation, and it just kind of happens. So if I go and hover over this, you can see all the micro animations with the eyes moving around, the muscles being activated, and you're really not having to do any more manual work. And I'm going to be focusing on these aspects of it as I'm going through this video today. And I have this character loaded up. I'm going to go and press F to get the front view, and I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on his face here. And at first, I'm just going to go ahead and load the sample animation that helps you calibrate and see what things are doing. Go ahead and go to Stage, go to Lightroom, and let's go ahead and do this authority. I think this is nice dramatic lighting that we can still see the detail of what the acting is, but we're going to be able to get a little bit more div lighting of what we're looking for. So I'm going to go ahead and drop down to the motion, even though Character Creator 5 is made more for the character creation itself, and you would do your animation in iClone. They do give you some options here to really see how the model reacts with animation to it. So I'm going to go and do facial rig, male. One thing I want to talk about, even though we're focusing on the facial animation for the most part, is the detail of the character, him or herself. So right now you can see the viewport subdivision level. This is new in Character Creator 5, 0, 1, and 2. And you can see the render quality, if you're rendering from iClone Character Creator, is always going to be at the highest quality, but the viewport you can adjust as well. And I'll zoom in so we can hopefully see some of the differences here. Performance here, and we can see going through the range of motions, we're getting a lot of really nice eyelid movements and things like that. Some of the subtleties that I really like. And something I think I want to enable here before we go any further is the animation wrinkles. And this was added in Character Creator 4, but was a giant addition near the end of that product that carried through here, is getting these activated wrinkles as the performance is happening. So I'm going to go ahead and load these up, and immediately you can see this has made quite a difference. So you can see if I go ahead and toggle these on and off, in the acting, we're getting more defined wrinkles that dynamically show up. Where he's looking up here a little bit, it's subtle, but you can see he's getting some wrinkles up there that really, I mean, you can see on the nose here, really adds a whole lot. And from here, another thing I want to talk about, aside from the wrinkles, is the Corrective Morphs. This is probably my co-favorite addition when it comes to facial animation because it makes the animations look more natural. For instance, if we get to spots where he's really blinking here, you can see with the corrective expressions on, it looks like he's blinking and the skin is a certain threshold. If you have the corrective expressions off, you can see it kind of goes beyond these thresholds. And this is something used to happen in animation where it kind of breaks your animation. If it's being driven too hard, it doesn't compensate correctly. Whereas these corrective expressions keep it within the realm of understandable and believability as far as what should be happening in real life with these types of expressions. So let's go ahead and take a look at this guy overall. Wireframe on shaded, so we can see the difference in the mesh here. 0. This is our 1, and this is our 2. So you can see this is much, much more dense. This might not be great for, say, game engines, but the great thing is you can also bake these details, most of the visual impact of that, without the really dense mesh. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back to normal shading. I have iClone open off screen here. I'm going to go and click on the little IC button up here, and that's going to send this project to iClone. I'm going to go to Plugins, and then Motion Live. I'm going to open this panel right here. And you use Motion Live if you have an iPhone that has a true depth camera, which a lot of the models do, especially the Pro ones. And you won't be able to see my phone right now, but it has in the Live Face app, I need to put in the IP address of that. So I'm going to give myself a little bit more room. I'll drag this guy over. And I'm going to go ahead and input the IP address. When I check the circle, I can see on my phone there is a connection established. I need to go ahead and choose the face motion capture I want to use for this particular character, which is the Live Face iPhone. You can see this updates here, and it's automatically checked. And now I just need to do a 0 pose, which is basically telling it like, hey, this is what my face looks like at idle. So I'm going to look at the camera, and I pressed set 0 pose. And now if I go ahead and click on preview and spacebar, you can see that I am getting the animation on screen, though it's not as refined as if I was actually recording and then letting it process afterwards. All right, so I ended up recording one of my favorite passages from The Hobbit, which you can actually hear Bilbo singing in the film version of Lord of the Rings at times. And you can see here, this is the motion capture that came through from the Motion Live plugin. This is unrefined at this point. I'm going to go ahead and fix it a little bit more later on, but this is just the raw capture you can hear a little bit here. The road leads ever on and on, down from the door where it began. Now later on I'm going to use ElevenLabs to change the voice to a more suitable, deep, Gandalf-esque voice. It's me trying to project my inner John Huston, who voiced Gandalf in the animated Hobbit, which if you guys haven't seen is awesome. And let's go and take a look at what the Motion Live plugin did for us. If I go ahead and double click on this right here, you can see that it tried to take the audio that it recorded in the plugin and put it into words. And what iClone does, which I don't think any other application package that I've seen does, is it goes ahead and it applies these vising shapes for the mouth shapes on top of and in addition to your base motion capture. So if I'm not getting perfect results here, I would go through, adjust the script to make sure it's saying the right thing. So you can see right here, it's saying eager feet. So eager feet, that's supposed to be E-A-G-E-R. And I would go and adjust those things, click on a line, and then I would apply it, and those changes would go to the script. I applied some Gandalf-y hair, a beard, and a mustache. So we've got a good view of this here. So this is a spot I wasn't completely pleased with. When he's saying paths and he hits the P, you would think his mouth to close all the way. So let's go ahead and see how this doesn't work right now.
Where many paths.
All right, so that's right around here. I'll zoom in a little bit more so we can see. You can see it's correctly identified the word, but maybe where it's assigned these guys and what it's assigned isn't quite as strong as we'd like it. So I can see here, this is supposed to be a P sound, and this is working. I think that's correct. If I double click on this, you can see the options that we have. So this is for a B, an M, or a P. And so I think what needs to be adjusted here is not the vising, but just trying to get his mouth closed a little bit more. So to fix this, I'm going to go ahead and bring this guy open a little bit, and I'll put this out so we can at least keep a little bit of our size here. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go and click on the animation tab. I'm going to go ahead and do face key. And the face key gives me some options that I can do to try and adjust specific ranges of the animation. So for instance, in this case, I'm going to go ahead and select the lips that I want to adjust. And if I drag up and down on the left here, where I think his mouth should be more closed, you can see it kind of closes here. Now I can do some weird stuff that I don't necessarily want to do, but I want to try and get it a little bit closed. If I go to the mouth a little bit here as well, I'm going to go ahead and try it, pinch in a little bit here. And I'll say mouth close. And there we go. So that adds a new key down here. But I only want this to be affecting a certain part of the frame range. So right now, if he keeps talking, it's going to be kind of puckered up a little bit here the whole time. So what we need to do is I'm going to go to the left of this and say reset to 0. I'm going to go to the right of this and reset to 0. And what this should do is it should force him to close his mouth a little bit more to make that P sound for paths. And then he'll go ahead and go back to the normal animation afterwards.
Where many paths.
And I think that should probably happen a little bit earlier. So I'm going to go ahead and put this maybe here.
Many paths.
There we go. And I think that looks good. But you can see very small changes have very quickly fixed the animation and gone in addition to what we already had from the motion capture and the vising track. I've hopped forward in time a little bit here just so we can see some other adjustments that I've made. It's not a whole lot of changes, but they're worth noting. As far as extra keys, I'll go ahead and hold down the Alt key and use the mouse wheel to zoom out here. You can see that there's just a few times where I felt like the shape wasn't working quite well enough.
Now far down the road.
So when he was making the F sound, I was expecting his mouth to be more closed, and so I added that little bracketing right there, and then once more here, and really that was all was needed. The motion capture did 90% of the lifting, along with the vising tracks that are automatically generated. All I had to do was very minorly adjust the script here, and then a few key offsets, and everything is looking pretty darn good. So I'm going to go in and show you some of the final finished versions of the animation with the ElevenLabs changed voices. I hope you enjoyed seeing this process and the extra details that Character Creator 5 can offer us in making even more real and lifelike animations for our characters, especially in the facial performance around the eyes and the mouth and so on and so forth.
The road leads ever on and on, down from the door where it began. Now far down the road has led, and I must follow, if I can, pursuing it with eager feet, until it joins some larger way, where many paths and errands meet, and whither then, I cannot say.